As startups begin to scale, there's a tension between the need for structure to ensure efficiency and to grow effectively versus keeping the spirit of self-organization, innovation, and autonomy alive. One of the biggest areas this impacts in the business is people experience and operations. I'm Natal Dank from PXO Culture, and today I'm speaking with Zach Todorovic from the Aussie startup Health Engine. And we're going to explore this tension between scaling for efficiency and effectiveness versus keeping the startup culture alive. And we're going to look at this through the lens of HR, culture, and organizational change. Hey, Zach, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Natal?
Very well, very well. Thanks for joining me today. And I find this topic fascinating. So the startup culture we all kind of come to love because it symbolizes this idea of innovation and self-organization. And a lot of startups I talk to say this is so essential to how they really build their business. So first of all, what is it like to build people experience and operations in this type of environment? What does a startup people team look like? Can you talk us through?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's really interesting. It's an interesting topic, and I think it's a really important tension to actually have within the organization. And certainly you have it in startups that are scaling up. And it's really one that now looking back with a little bit of hindsight and having gone through the motions, it's something that we totally embrace. But at the time it feels like it's a real challenge and a hurdle to get over. And so I think if there's any advice is you have to write it out first and foremost. But I think also, I think you have to acknowledge that there are two extremes and you have to be careful to sort of not go one way or the other. And so I think acknowledging that there is a way to be able to find a balance is really, really important. And you really have to experiment and try lots of different approaches and lots of different ways because you're not going to nail it the first go. And that's definitely something that we've experienced, that you have to continuously work at it.
Can you give us maybe an example of how you feel you've got this balance between structure on one side, but allowing for the self-organization and autonomy on the other side?
I think that we have it in certain pockets. So one of the things that really comes to mind as you're trying to strike this balance, and something that came through really strongly in our engagement surveys, was that our people really respond well to guardrails and boundaries, not necessarily strict rules. So once we sort of had that insight, we could start to sort of shape experiences where our people could play within, but they didn't necessarily feel constrained by them. You know, a bit of a backstory, one of the things we wanted to get really good at was setting goals for the organisation and setting them for the team in a way that meant we were all going the same direction at the same time, but really not constraining it in a waterfall way. And OKRs have been really successful for us and have been that example of setting boundaries and sort of having a framework to hook into, but not necessarily being strict and stringent with the play area, so that our people can really come up with their goals in teams and as individuals, but that link into what the business is trying to achieve, which is ultimately what we're all there for.
Is it that people set their own goals and then look at how that aligns with the business ones, or does the business go first?
Yeah, so the business will sort of set the strategic goals. So that is set on an annual basis, and there's also quarterly ones that we set for the organisation. These are really linked into our strategy. And then what happens is we have at the beginning of every quarter an OKR planning week. And part of that planning week is a retro on the previous one, in which the teams, they work through what needs to continue, what they think they could do as a team in the following quarter. And that happens, but also a whole bunch of alignment sessions happen, which is really getting all the different functions of the business that need to come together to work as a single unit, really, to achieve the strategic goals. And those functions then go away and work with their teams, or the function leaders work with their teams and build up not only team OKRs, but ones that are cross-functional independency. And they're really sort of, they're sort of built from loose business ones, but they're sort of more firmed up by the people in the teams, and they really sort of put them together in a way that I guess makes sense and really engages and motivates them as well.
Excellent. No, so that's a really nice example. And I think it's one that people could really relate to because OKRs are out there, everyone's talking about them.
Yes.
But it's a great example of how it brings out this idea of structure on one hand, but actually self-organization and ownership on the other, which I really like. What's one of the biggest challenges that you've faced in attempting to build people experience and operations in a startup culture?
One of the challenges that comes with being a startup, and more specifically a sort of a health tech startup, for us in particular, there's resource constraint. So there's only a sort of a finite amount of resource. And while that is a challenge and has been in terms of talent and also just expenditure, but more so talent, I recall a conversation we were having around sort of building up the next phase of our team and actually finding that person, that talent is quite a challenge. Out of obviously the way that we've sort of been exposed to this new way of working, a new world has helped, and we'll be able to tap into talent and globally, which is really great. But yeah, also I guess with that challenge, there's a lot of opportunity in sort of creativity and innovation. So it's a challenge for us, but we try to use it and leverage it and try to sort of work within that. And some really cool things have come out of it as well.
And when we talked about the challenge around the talent with the HR roles or the people experience and operation roles, it was that you wanted to cover all these different types of skills and knowledge base, and actually no one was ever going to have all of those. And so it was thinking about what was the starting point and how, what did you need to cover more importantly to begin with, and then sort of build the team from there, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And we're a really, I say we're a small and mighty team. So we're sort of now back to a team of 3 and we're sort of full stack, I also say. So we're looking for sort of individuals that bring lots of different skills and knowledge and expertise and experience. And that just gives us a lot of flexibility and allows us to really adapt as a team as well. But knowing where to start and the sort of the key skills and knowledge and experience that you're looking for, putting together a structure is fun, but it's also a bit of a challenge at times with those sort of constraints.
So I think it was really interesting that some of the biggest wins you've had is actually connected to the idea that people want some type of boundary or, so what is acceptable and then what isn't. And then within that, I can make my own decisions. And I think that's a really interesting concept and one that whatever type of culture you have, you can actually pull from. When might be a time where you just didn't quite get it right. And, from that learning experience, you know what to do next time, but sort of you have to kind of go through that to understand and grow from it.
Yeah, there's a distinct time a couple of years ago. So as a startup, we do cap raising rounds, and we did it a couple of years ago. We got a really great investment from a number of different investors, and it was a large sum as well. So for us, that meant sort of ramp up, and the ramp up meant people are a really quick and easy way to really kind of help you achieve your goals. And so we did that. But, being talent constrained, we're sort of head office in Perth. Talent constraint is something that we have to deal with quite a bit. So for us, we sort of ramped up everywhere, and we really didn't give a lot of thought to how we were going to work. If we had a semi-small office in Sydney and lots of boots on the ground everywhere, and the majority of our people in one place, and sort of what that would translate into as an experience. So we ended up, after some time, really having to wind that back, and the Sydney office has sort of become a little bit more of a hub and a co-working space, and we're sort of really down to having our headquarters and the majority of our people in the one space and co-located in Perth.
From that, is there a tip that you would like to share today for people that are working in a startup culture and have maybe gone through these experiences, are learning from it as well, or are about to embark on a similar kind of exercise?
Yeah, I think having gone through something like that, it's very easy to come out of the other end and sort of be discouraged and not want to revisit that idea or actually go down the same path. Most of the times it's really important to actually to revisit and actually to not close the door to that idea and really learn from it and iterate on it and actually do it, but a little bit differently with, I guess, the reflection and a little bit of hindsight. So I guess not being scared to try the same things again, really, is the tip.
Exactly. Thank you so much for talking with us today, Zach. It was really insightful. If you like this video, please subscribe and be notified of the next in the series, and join PXO Culture to explore how to build fantastic people experience and operations. Thank you.